Despite all the shocks to the Kenyan economy that we were discussing with the head of the tourist board, the pharmaceutical industry seems to have risen above all limitations and obstacles in recent years. It's believed that annualized growth of the pharmaceutical sector will be 13% up until the year 2014. What's made pharmaceuticals so attractive?
I don't know. Does that mean that more patients are getting sick, which is not a very good thing? But on the other hand, I think there's been a significant increase in the access of drugs by many patients in Kenya, which is a good thing because it means more and more people are either able to afford medicines or are receiving aids and grants to afford medicine, or the government is providing these medicines to the people. So overall, it's a good thing that the pharmaceutical sector is growing because people are accessing medicines.
All right, now the economy is expected to grow, as I said earlier on, somewhere in the region of about 3.9% this year, and then much higher at 4.5% in the year ahead and moving upwards. Those are the forecasts for the Kenyan economy. The government is a big spender in healthcare, and that's boosted sales figures and output for the sector. Just tell us about the healthcare reforms that have created synergies between the manufacturers of drugs and the state as a major purchaser of healthcare materials from you.
Over the last 5 years, we have seen increased procurement from government. And this is really because the government has started procuring. I think about 5-6 years ago, there had been a complete stop in procurement from government. And over that period, we've seen sustained improvements in procurement by government. We have also seen a significant improvement in the transparency around the procurement of drugs. And finally, a lot of discussions and positive engagement between the private sector manufacturers, private sector importers, and the government procurement agency, which is KEMSA, where we are now able to know what their future requirements are, what their aspirations are, and therefore enable us to plan better with our manufacturing and importation of drugs. So I think those measures have enabled us to engage a lot more constructively and positively with the government and led to an increase in supply to government.
All right, there's also been an increase of over 11% in corporate spending on staff medical insurance. How are you going to capitalize on this increased spending or corporatization of the medical care in Kenya now that you have some kind of capital injection through privately funded medical aids?
As a company, GlaxoSmithKline has tried to differentiate itself from competition. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is providing quality medicines that are cost effective. So from last year, the company made a commitment to ensure that our pricing is right. So effective April last year, we reduced our prices of many of our patented products by about 60% to 80%, reflecting our desire to ensure that our pricing is in line with the GDP per capita of countries in Africa. This move has endeared us to doctors and patients because our medicines are more affordable and we're reaching more patients. I think the other thing I would like to focus on is that we have a very strong scientific base within which we operate. We market our medicines very scientifically and ethically to healthcare professionals who are then able to make informed decisions on how they prescribe the medicines to patients who really require these medicines. So I think these three things have endeared us to the public, and we hopefully going forward will be able to access more patients with our quality medicines.
Have those things endeared you to potential investors? What we've seen in Kenya is growing interest of pharmaceuticals from South Africa and countries like Kenya in trying to make acquisitions in the Kenyan market. Is GlaxoSmithKline willing to engage in any of these merger talks to try to grow on your brand equity, to expand into broader markets beyond what you're doing in Kenya? I know you're a global brand, but just in terms of leveraging yourself within the pharmaceutical industry in Africa as a whole.
Absolutely. I mean, to just demonstrate this, last year, towards the end of last year, GlaxoSmithKline formed a collaboration with Aspen Healthcare, a South African company. And as a result of this collaboration, GSK acquired about a 20% stake in Aspen Healthcare. And in return, we are receiving a whole host of medicines that are quality generics from Aspen factories across the globe and marketing these products in Africa and in Kenya specifically. So I think this kind of collaboration is something that GSK is seeking. We have entered into such partnerships with other companies like Dr. Reddy's Limited, and have acquired another company recently called UCB and also Stifel. So this is an effort in an effort to ensure that we provide relevant medicines that support needs of healthcare professionals in Africa, and to ensure patients in Kenya and Africa in general receive quality, affordable medicines.
All right, and then finally, you've been at the forefront of a lobby to get a bill enacted that would address issues of counterfeiting of drugs within Kenya, because we're told that the counterfeit trade has already eaten into 30 to 40% of the drug sales market overall. What's being done about the counterfeiters?
This is a real problem in Kenya and in Africa in general. The WHO estimates that 30% of all medicines in Africa are counterfeits. And unfortunately for medicines, it's not like a counterfeit pen or a counterfeit battery, which has consequences but not grave ones. A counterfeit medicine harms patients, doesn't provide medicines that are required by the patient, and sometimes even kills patients. So it's a real concern for us. I think as an industry body and as a company, we have engaged the government very strongly. We now finally have an Act of Parliament that was passed in 2008. Last year, the government appointed the authority and the top team in an authority that will govern or monitor the issue of counterfeits. But what we're really looking forward to is strong action to ensure that the counterfeiters, who are really criminals, who impact the health of a nation, are apprehended and action taken against them as soon as possible.
All right, we
hope to see significant fines to those people so that we deter future counterfeiters from impacting the health of patients.